Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Sports Zone podcast. This will be episode 6, and today we will be talking about Paul George's return. Should Devin Booker be an MVP candidate? The Miami Heat altercation, RJ Barrett's play since the All-Star break, and Rudy Gobert disrespect. Rudy Gobert. I hear Gobert too much, and I just get used to it. Um, First off, I want to say, you guys know I'm trying to get sponsored. So I mix tropical rain and watermelon, and it's purple because it's blue and red. So it's gonna make purple. So I'm gonna try it. I've never mixed flavors before, and I like both flavors, so it should be good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll give that a 9.1. That's actually pretty good. The next flavor I want to try is Hive Nectar because that one seems good. I like nectarines. All the flavors that I have right now I already tried, so except the one that I tried last time, Tropical Rain, I think I tried. That was my first time trying that. But yeah, so now, yeah. But whenever I get a new flavor, or I'm trying something new, I'll, I'll review it on here. Just a quick little thing. So, our first topic is Paul George's return. So, first off, this is being recorded um, on March 29th. So, if you guys haven't heard already, there is breaking news on Paul George that he could return anytime soon, even today as of March 29th. And actually, I think he will come back today. So, before PG got injured, he averaged 24.7 points per game, 7.1 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game. This is going to mean like so much to the Clippers team because they have been without their best two players for most of the season, with Kawhi missing the whole season and PG only playing 26 games so far this season. The Clippers, I think, surprised us all, to be honest, because they stayed around the sixth seed without Paul George for most of the time, and they're playing like really well and winning games until like recently where they've been struggling. In their last 10 games, they are 2-8, and they are currently on a 5-game losing streak. They are also currently the eighth seed in the Western Conference and are currently in the play-in tournament. Now, by Paul George coming back, I think they're going to stay at the eighth seed because these last 10 games just really hurt them. And then the Timberwolves, who are the seventh seed, have been playing really good, like as of late, and I don't see them catching up. Like the Timberwolves are literally the number one rated offense, and Cat's literally playing like Michael Jordan. Um, Paul George just like means so much to this team because he adds a lot of scoring, defense, rebounding, and playmaking. This is Paul George's best season of playmaking. Like he really leveled it up. And let's not forget how good of a two-way player he is. Like, was it 2018 or 2019 where he was literally top three in defensive player of the year and top three in MVP? Like that was crazy. Let's not forget before PG got injured that he was in the MVP race. He was playing as one of the best players in the league. I had him third because I had him behind KD, Steph Curry when he was still playing good, and Paul George was third. Um, This year I saw like the most improvement in his playmaking. Like I said, he's averaging a career high in assists, and I've just seen him make smarter passes during games. Like he's made really good passes. And PG is also just again one of the best two-way players in the league. He was almost a 25 point per game scorer, and he averaged 2 steals per game. I mean, Paul George is just an elite defender. The Clippers right now rank 26th in offensive ranking and 11th in defensive ranking. By adding Paul George back to the lineup, you at least crack the top 10 in defensive rating, and you probably now become the 15th, 20th ranked offense. Um, that is how impactful Paul George is to this team. And now, do I see them making the playoffs? Yes, I do, because I think they'll win a playing game, and if they lose, they still have another chance because they're the eighth seed. Now, I don't know if I have them making it past the first round. It really just depends on who they play because they don't have Kawhi. And there's just good, like really good teams in the West. I could see them beating Mavericks. I could see him beating the Timberwolves maybe and stuff like that. But yeah, they won't make the playoffs. Paul George is that type of player, and this team is a really good team. I'm also just happy to see Paul George play again and see him healthy because he is one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's great. Like he's a top five favorite player. My probably top three. I have Giannis in there, Zion probably, and then probably PG. I also like Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Jokic. I also like and stuff like that. So when talking about MVPs, should we name Devin Booker in the MVP race? To me, no. Devin Booker shouldn't even be top 7 in MVP voting. There are so many more players that are valuable to their team and are just better than Booker this season. Like, before you get all the Suns fans get mad, I'm gonna go through some players that I think should be above him in MVP voting. Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, LeBron, Jason Tatum, that's 5. John Morant, Chris Paul, Luca, that's 8 that I have higher than him. And if Kevin Durant stayed healthy, he would be above him too. And when people call Booker a MVP, they always like to bring up the Suns record and how they are winning so much, but that's not because of him. Yes, obviously he's contributing but to that, but the Suns were like one of the worst team in the league before CP3 got there. Like CP3 is the most important player to that team by far. And this team is only as good at it as it is because of Chris Paul and also Mikal Bridges. Bridges is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. DeAndre Ayton is now a really good center, and he's developed a good mid-range this season and during the playoffs last season. And if you have JaVale McGee off the bench, who is playing really well this season, and the Suns have Cameron Johnson, who could give a team 20 points any night, and is a 40% three-point shooter, Booker doesn't have to carry his team like a Jokic. And like the Suns are just a good team. Like while the Nuggets are missing their second and third best players in Jamal Murray and MPJ, and Jokic still has them in the playoffs as a 6 seed. Booker isn't even close to the players I named. Giannis is averaging more points, rebounds, around the same assists, and Giannis is one of the best defenders in the league. Like, how is Giannis averaging more points than you, but all you can do is score? Or that's your main attribute. Jokic is averaging around the same points. He's second in rebounds per game at 13. He's averaging more assists. And Jokic has stepped up his defense this year big time. Like, no, Booker is not an MVP candidate. Like, if you took Booker off that team, they're still winning a bunch of games. They're still a top 3 seed. They're just that good of a team. They all work so well together. Like, they have Cameron Payne off the bench. They have Chris Paul. They have DeAndre Ayton. They have JaVale McGee off the bench. Like, they're just a good team. Like, no, Devin Booker is not an MVP candidate at all. And also, like, Devin Booker is, like, such a baby. He's always crying. Like, oh my god. Like, okay, hold on. And it's always the Suns fans that are, like, always say he's so good. Like, he's not that good. And also, he's so inefficient. Like, right now, I think my MVP is Giannis, but second is Jokic. Okay, Devin Booker shooting 46% from the field and 37% from three. I think LaMelo Ball shooting a better three-point percentage than you. Oh my god. Okay, tell me who's your MVP. 26 points, 13.6 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 1 block, 8 assists, 34% from 3, or 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4.9 assists, and 46% from the field and 37% from 3. Like, bro, Jokic is almost shooting a better percentage than you. No, I can't. This fans are so delusional. Delusional. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, Jokic is so much better in every aspect. No, Devin Booker is not an MVP candidate. Okay, now the next topic is the Miami Heat altercation. So if you guys haven't seen yet, during the Miami Heat and Warriors game, Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra got into an argument during the timeout, to where Jimmy Butler had to be held back from fighting his coach. Like, come on, Jimmy, you can't be doing that. And then more things were said, and Udonis Haslam then started arguing with Jimmy Butler and said to Jimmy, "I'll whoop you." Now, I'm assuming Eric Spoelstra said something about like the way Jimmy was playing, and Jimmy didn't like it. But now for Haslam to get involved, I'm thinking that maybe like he didn't like how Jimmy was talking to Spoelstra and got involved. And during the argument, Udonis didn't call Jimmy Butler, or he said to Jimmy Butler that he's not a leader. Jimmy said to Udonis Haslam that he doesn't even play, so what is he talking about? And I'm pretty sure they were all already frustrated before that game and during that game because they're 4-6 in their last 10 games, and we're probably annoyed from losing games, and that had something to do with it, and they were getting destroyed. But this cannot be happening, like especially during the end of the season when the playoffs are going to start soon. Like you need the most chemistry during the playoffs. Like chemistry is everything in a team, and your best player and coach cannot have problems with Jimmy and Spoelstra. It's not good to have tension because, for instance, if like Jimmy doesn't like a play Spoelstra calls in the playoffs or during the game, he can just go out there and run his own play because he's mad. Like that cannot be happening, and not everyone will be on the same page. And with the East being stacked, you need to have as much chemistry as possible. Hopefully, Jimmy Butler, Udonis Haslam, and Spoelstra figure this out before the playoffs because that's the only way they're making a deep playoff run. Like right now, I don't think they can get past Boston because I don't. Miami Heat has no like guy you can give the ball and be like, go score, and they'll do it. Jimmy, he's a 20 point per game scorer. He's not the best scorer. When on the Celtics, you have Jalen Brown who could get you like a bucket. You have Jason Tatum who can score. And yeah, like they just have all these players. I mean, their defense is good. Like obviously, Jimmy Butler, one of the best defenders in the league. Bam, one of the best defenders in the league. PJ Tucker, one of the best defenders in the league. But also, the Celtics have a good roster also for defense. Like they have Robert Williams. Oh, well, actually no, he's missing the first round and second round of the playoffs at least, I think. They have Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, an okay defender. Al Horford's a pretty good shot blocker, but Miami Heat's defense is better, but the Celtics' offense is better. I'm taking the Celtics in that series. Um, Now, against, let's say, the Bulls. The Bulls' offense is way better than the Heat's offense. Their defense is also really good if they get Lonzo back. Dude, I really wish Lonzo didn't get injured. The Bulls would still be the number one seed, and I'm confident in that. And then, like, now that I think about it, the Bulls have some lockdown guys. They have Lonzo Ball. They have Alex Caruso. They have all these good. They have Pat Williams. They have all these good defenders. Like, yeah, I'm taking the Bulls over the Heat. I'm taking the Bulls, the Celtics over the Heat. I'm taking the Bucks over the Heat because at the end of the day, who's stopping Giannis? And you could put Drew Holiday on a Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler. Yeah, but the Heat need to figure this out, man. Because I think they're already like underdogs in my opinion, and you cannot be fighting. Now, the next player that I want to talk about is RJ Barrett. His play since the All-Star break. Now, I barely talk about the Knicks because they've been like so disappointing this season. Like, dude, no, I had him as like a play-in team, but they're not even gonna make that. Now, I mean, since the All-Star break, RJ Barrett has looked like a superstar, honestly. Since the All-Star break, he's averaging 25.8 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and I mean, he's just looked really good. He started off the season like really slow, but he has definitely picked it up. I just hope RJ can keep this up for a full year. For all of next year, I think next year he can average around 22, 23 points per game. I think next year he can become an all-star. The only thing I would say about RJ is that he needs to increase his efficiency, especially from the free throw line. He is only shooting 71%. Like, dude, Giannis is almost shooting a better free throw percentage than you. Um, I think this is where RJ Barrett's prime starts, and I think next year he will show why he was the number three pick. I do expect him to be an all-star next year, but I think RJ is always just overlooked and called a bust and bad because he was in a draft with Zion and Ja, and I mean, Zion and Ja are already superstars. Zion in his second season averaged 27 points on 60% shooting. Ja in his third season, 26 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. MVP candidate. Grizzlies are one of the best teams in the league. And I think people look at their success and then look at RJ Barrett's success and what he's done and automatically think he just wasn't worth a pick. But this is barely RJ's third year. He is still going to improve. Like, I think RJ at his best will be a 24, 25 point per game scorer and average like 6 or 7 rebounds. I don't think he'll ever be that efficient. Like, maybe at his best shoot 45, 46% and like 35, 37% from three. Um, RJ will be one of the best two-way players in the league in a couple years because his defense has been there. We were just waiting on his offense to finally click, and now it's here. And I think RJ will really surprise everyone next season. Watch out for RJ. Come back to this when he's an all-star. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Um, so yeah, I think he'll really be good. So yeah, come back to this when RJ is an all-star. I'm calling it now. Uh, Also, it depends if the Knicks move on from Julius or make RJ the main guy. Because right now, Julius Randle is still the main guy, even though he hasn't been the best this season. But they're still giving him the ball. He's still the main guy. Like you can see it when they play. If they make RJ the main guy, then he'll definitely average 22, 23 points per game. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think it's time to move on from Julius Randle. Like, no, like, you could still keep him, but just give RJ the ball most of the time. Or trade Julius. I mean, it's not like Julius is the worst thing and you're not going to get anything decent back from. Like, I like how people are always disrespecting Julius Randle, but this year he's still averaging 20 points per game, 10 rebounds, 5.1 assists. I mean, yes, oh my god, his percentages are obviously not there, but I mean, I think he just set the bar way too high last year. I mean, last year I averaged 24 points per game, 10 rebounds, uh, and 6 assists. Yeah, I think he just overachieved last season, honestly. Yeah, he was shooting 41% from three last season. Now he's down to 30. Wow. Okay, yeah, but you could still get something decent for him. Like Julius Randle is still a good player. Um, but yeah, I would make RJ the main guy, and he'll definitely show why he's the number three pick. Now, on to the next topic. Rudy Gobert. I mean, Rudy Gobert. I keep calling him Rudy Gobert. The Rudy Gobert disrespect. I want to talk about how people always disrespect Gobert. Like, first off, people don't even call this man a top 25 a top 25 player. He's a top 20 player. People have Bam over him. Bam is nowhere near Gobert. People call him garbage. Like, okay, first off, let me read you this. The most defensive players of the year awards is four. Ben Wallace and Dikembe Mutombo. Then it's Gobert with three and Howard with three. I don't care if he has no offensive game. People always talk about the best defensive players ever, and no one ever talks about Rudy Gobert. He's quietly a three-time defensive player of the year. Like, that's hard to get. Most people only get one. It's rare when you get two. There's only six players who have ever gotten two. Kawhi Leonard, Alonzo Mourning, Dennis Rodman, Hakeem Olajuwon, Sidney Moncrief, Mark Eaton, I think. Like, dude, it's rare. And it's not like Rudy Gobert's the worst offensive player. Like, he's putting up 15 points on 71% field goal percentage. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's good. Um, 15 rebounds per game. People always go over that. He's averaged 2 blocks per game every single year he's been in the NBA except his rookie season. Like, dude, that's not normal. Like, that's good. Like, that's crazy. Like, he's literally one of the best defenders ever. He's one of the best defenders in the league right now. He's one of the best rebounders in the game right now. He's one of the best shot blockers in the NBA right now. Like, he is just good. And people always call him trash because people always look at offense the most. Like, okay, who do you think is better? 18 points per game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Or 15 points, 15 rebounds, 2 blocks. Most people are gonna say 18 rebounds, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds over 15 points and 15 rebounds because people like okay, Rudy Gobert is boring to watch, but he's good. Like people always think offense is the only part of basketball, but that's not. It's only 50%. The other 50% of basketball is defense. Like all these players who are in the Hall of Fame, Dennis Rodman, they had no offensive game. They were literally just defense and rebounds. Ben Wallace, like all these players that are in the top 75 are just the exact same as Gobert. But Gobert can actually probably score better than them. I don't think Ben Wallace ever scored over double digits. I don't think Dennis Rodman ever scored over double digits. Like, dude, Gobert is always disrespected. Like, when he's on the court, the Jazz are literally one of the best defensive teams in the league. But when he's off, they're garbage. And I know last year against the Clippers he got destroyed, but it's because his team doesn't play good defense, so he always has to go help and do everyone's job. Like if they were to give him some good defenders around him, like even not even good, like decent, then he would not get cooked in the playoffs because he had to be helping all his other players because they were getting destroyed. And like, yeah, he was just doing too much. Like, it was impossible for him to focus on one person. So if they actually got some good pieces around him, he would be even better. But yeah, Gobert is still disrespected. He's literally one of the best defenders of all time. So that will be all the topics for this episode. The fun fact for today is that Kawhi Leonard has more Finals MVPs than triple doubles in his career. He has one triple double and two Finals MVPs. That's crazy. Um, Now, I'm actually excited to talk about this. In my next basketball episode, I'll be doing some scouting reports on draft prospects like Paulo. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I tried to look it up so I don't mispronounce it. Um, I think it's Paulo Banchero because I thought it was Banchero, but or Banchero, but it's because I was trying to find if he ever said his name, but apparently this guy doesn't say his name, and all the commentators are saying Paulo Banchero, so I'm just gonna say that. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. So I'm gonna be doing scouting reports on him, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, Ivy, and more. Like, dude, I grinded last night. Like literally, I stayed up till like 2:30 watching Paulo's film, watching all his games, just studying his film, and I'm already pretty much done with him. But I think next I'm gonna do Chet. I'm not gonna be doing all of them in one episode because I don't wanna do all the scouting reports in just one episode, and I will be doing this for the NFL too. Because the draft is closer than the NBA draft. The NFL draft is in like 20 days, a month, around there. So yeah, Uh, expect scouting reports soon. I'll be talking about where I think the best team would be, what are their weaknesses and strengths, all the facts about them, stuff like that. It's gonna be really cool. But it's definitely a lot of work. I probably spent like 2 to 3 hours on Paulo yesterday, and I didn't even finish. So that's the end of the episode. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.